Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be 10 surprising end of the time signs that Jesus is returning. So this will be talking about basically signs of the rapture and signs that Jesus is coming back, what is going to happen, what was prophesied beforehand, before Jesus returns and abolishes the Antichrist and does all of these different things. Just want to let you guys know I am going to travel. I'm traveling to Lebanon, so I won't be back until later in October, 25th time of October. So I will be trying to get some videos scheduled, and I will be trying to record some videos over there, show you guys what's going on. There's a lot of history there, a lot of beautiful things going on in Lebanon. Lebanon is a religious country. It is half Muslim, half Christian, and there's a lot of history there, especially from Rome and Colosseums and a lot of different things like that. So I will be trying to get some content out about Lebanon. Without further ado, let's jump right into this and see what's up.
The most important thing to happen before the end of the world in Christian theology is the return of Jesus. According to the Bible, Jesus predicted a series of events that would take place before his return. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another FTD Facts episode. Leroy Kenton here. And for this one, I'll be exploring 10 surprising end time signs that Jesus is returning according to Christianity. Now, some of these aren't necessarily going to be prophecies of Jesus. They may be taken from other parts of the Bible that sort of reaffirm these signs. But either way, let's jump into this list. At number 10, we have the false religious leader, also known as the false prophet. One of the biggest signs of the end is that a great false religious leader will rise up. Now, he'll be successful in deceiving a large number of people. And what will be great about this false prophet's attitude and mode of operation? Well, he's going to oppose and exalt himself above all that is called God or worship, so that he sits as God in God's temple, demonstrating that he is God. This is according to 2 Thessalonians 2 verses 4.
Interesting.
So yeah, he's definitely going to be a powerful figure. And this man will have supernatural abilities and will be able to perform great miracles, such as causing fire to fall from the sky, which is referenced in Revelation 13 verses 13. Next up, at number 9, we have drought and famine. Drought, famine, fires, floods, all types of natural disasters tend to occur in cycles near the time of Jesus' return. Now, in Matthew 24 verses 7, the words of Jesus say this: there will be famines. Famines around the world will spark fierce competition and strife among nations over food. As we all know, these things are happening in many countries all over the world. The next sign coming in at number 8 is earthquakes. Earthquakes will increase as we reach the end of time. People are affected by earthquakes all over the world, and the Bible actually predicts that there will be more earthquakes in various places before Jesus' return. And for those references, you can see Mark 13 verses 8 as well as Matthew 24 verses 7. Now, as the number and magnitude of earthquakes increase, well, they will become extremely destructive. And records show that we have exceeded the long-term average number of major earthquakes about a dozen times over the last 40 to 50 years. Coming in next at number 7, the gospel goes global. In the book of Matthew chapter 24, Jesus mentions another sign that will happen before he returns. It's actually an active sign, meaning that it's something that's happening now. Now, the quote of Jesus goes like this: "And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all nations." Now, the main message of the gospel, or good news, according to how it's conveyed in Christianity, is that humanity can be restored to God and live as God's people in God's kingdom under the rule of God, all through accepting the sacrifice and have faith in Jesus. Next up at number 6, let's talk about the signs when it comes to epidemics. Plagues of diseases.
Just because you have faith in Jesus doesn't necessarily instate that you follow the rules of God or you're going to live under his rules in some type of eternal life. If you're a bad person, you kill people, you rob, you cheat, you lie, you steal, you commit adultery, fornication, all of these things, I don't see how Jesus died for you still.
Epidemics and
I don't know how you're gonna
pandemics
live
are
under those
causing
rules if you
public
can't
health
think. You can't
officials
even
all over the world
keep
to
them here.
panic. Now, the Bible does state that future diseases and epidemics will be spread in part by wild animals. It's referenced in Revelation 6 verses 8. And some of humanity's worst plagues, such as the bubonic plague, have been transmitted by animals. In some areas, the bubonic plague is a natural occurring problem among wild animals. And there are, of course, other examples of plagues and epidemics, like the recent plague that the world was under lockdown for,
Starts with
Well,
crow.
it said that came from bats.
Came from
But yeah, you guys know what I'm
bats.
talking about.
There we
The
go.
C
There's the
word.
bats.
I don't want to say it because I don't want this video to get flagged.
Same as
we
me.
move
There
on
you
to
go,
number
buddy.
5.
There you go. There you go. He didn't want to say it because he didn't want this video to get flagged, but it came from bats. And yeah, that's what I was just literally talking about. That's really, 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 really funny.
Violence and wars. The book of Matthew contains Jesus' prophecy to his disciples about the state of the world just before his second coming. And you will hear of wars and war rumors. Make sure you are not troubled, because all of these things must happen, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise up against nation, and the kingdoms will rise up against kingdom. That's taken from Matthew 24 verses 6 to 7. So yeah, not just wars, but also outbreaks of violence, like these random shootings that we often see. The sign coming at the number 4 spot is loss of life for religion. Let's take a look at John 16 verses 2. This is what it says. They will put you out of the synagogue. In fact, the time is coming when anyone who kills you will think that they're offering a service to God. Also, during the end times, Jesus predicted that the world would be riddled with religious confusion. In Matthew 24 verses 11, Jesus says, at that time, many false prophets will arise and deceive many. Next up, let's talk about the abomination.
Kind of like your musical artists, your actors, your children TV shows, all of these like false prophets. Like Disney creates false prophets, like Nickelodeon creates false prophets, like Universal creates false prophets, and they push these people out. Like there's a lot of false prophets out there that are preaching some demonic things.
Of desolation at number 3. One of the end time signs is when a foreign occupying power will attack and conquer Jerusalem. The Bible refers to this as the abomination of desolation. This is the common Christian interpretation of this. Now in Matthew 24 verses 15 to 16, Jesus, he describes this, and he says, therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation, a heinous contamination spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place, let those in Judea, today known as modern state of Israel, flee to the mountains. Another big sign before Jesus returns is the Great Tribulation. The Bible foretells the worst, most indescribable and terrifying period of time in all of human history. This period is known as the Great Tribulation, and sometimes is referred to as Jacob's trouble, as it's mentioned in Jeremiah chapter 30 verses 7. It will be a time that is so horrible and destructive that all the atrocities that we've witnessed on the planet will appear like
most people think they'll live through a lot of this and be able to see Jesus. Most people will be dead, and the world will
walk in the park compared to this time. The sign coming in at the number 1 spot is the 7 last plagues. In the book of Revelation, the last book of the Bible, chapter 11 verses 15, the 7th trumpet is sounded and Jesus returns. But even as he returns, the deceived nations will fight and curse him. And this reference is in Revelation 16 verse 21 as well as 17 verses 14. So as Jesus comes, he pours out the 7 last plagues described in Revelation 15 verses 1 and 16 verses 1 to 21. Finally, after the plagues play out, then humanity as a whole will be humbled and teachable. And every single human on the planet will then acknowledge that Jesus is supreme, and the resurrected saints will also join Jesus in ruling the earth. And on that note, we end this episode on the 10 surprising end time signs that Jesus is returning according to Christianity. Now, for these explanations and these interpretations, it is a general belief of Christians. Not necessarily every single Christian denomination believes that, but I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. Sound off below in the comments section. Thanks for hanging out with me in another episode.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Leroy. Thank you, FTD Facts. And awesome video today. I like a lot of that. I like a lot of those signs. I agree with a lot of them. A lot of them do correspond with Islam as well. And Muslims do believe that Jesus is coming back at the end of times. There is going to be the Antichrist who spreads deception and performs magic tricks and does these miraculous things, and people are going to believe in him and call him God. And he's just here to deceive us, to take us down the wrong path, to make us worship the wrong thing. And Jesus will come and abolish that. I do believe this. I do believe there's signs leading up to it. I do believe there's revelation leading up to it. And we were told about these things. And a lot of these things are happening in current day. In my next video, we're going to be reacting to the Islamic signs. I try to keep these videos as short as possible. There's so many details, so many signs, so many things. Like, we could do an hour, 2 hour long sit down and talk about these things for real. And I really want to get to that, and we will get to that in later videos. I want to do these live streams where we kind of go in sections, where I can get people on here, we can have live discussions, where we can really deep dive into a lot of these different topics and really go into them from all angles, from all religions, from all ideological standpoints. But anyways, guys, if you liked the video today, give a like, comment, and subscribe to never miss another one. Leave your comments down below and let me know what you think. If you have any other, signs that he did not mention here, leave them down below and let me know what's up. And until next time, God bless and peace out.